Hello and welcome to this episode, The Chicken Empire Strikes Back. Now, every chicken that's in space will typically have some sort of self-defense mechanism, like a laser. So, we don't have that yet. So what we're going to do is create a button in our user interface that when the player clicks on it, or taps on it if it's a mobile game, it shoots lasers. And the mechanic of this game is going to be for each of those feathers you pick up that we made last time, that's going to be your ammunition. That tells you how many lasers you can shoot. So you just can't go shooting lasers willy-nilly. That would be ridiculous. Chickens are more prudent, more conservative with their laser use. So, in our canvas, we're going to create UI button. Now I'm going to hover the scene view and hit F to focus. Remember, our user interface is basically this area here, and this is our game way down there. And I'm going to expand the button because I don't need the text. It says button on there. I don't really need that. So I'm going to click on that text and hit the delete key on my keyboard. And click back to the button. Now let's rename that. I'm going to call this button shoots laser, so I know really explicitly what that does. Now, I don't want it to look like this. I have a graphic that I want to use for my button, so I'm going to kind of move this off to the side over here. And, sorry, I don't mind that. On the inspector over here, I have the image, of course, which it currently looks like this UI sprite, that little button thing. I don't want that. So I'm going to hit the little target there. And I'm going to set the default to this lighter color. These are some graphics that were provided for you, so if you just hit the target, those graphics should show up. Now it looks all squished and distorted, and that's ugly, so I'm going to click on Set Native Size. There we go, and it's much closer, and I'm going to scale that to 0.8. There. Get that off of that button there. Looks better. Good. Now, I'm going to collapse the image portion. Now this button script that was added when we added it to the UI, that makes it clickable. Nothing's going to happen, but it does make it clickable. And when I click it, it's going to transition to something. I don't want it to change colors. I actually want to sprite swap. The sprite is the graphic, and I want it to swap to a different graphic that looks like it's pushed down. So I'm going to choose sprite swap for transition. And the highlighted sprite, if I go into the project, go into sprites, space chicken, this lighter colored one I'm going to put in the highlighted. I'm just linking these, dragging and dropping those. In the pressed, I'm going to make it the darker of the two. Now, this would allow us to simply click on the button and it would look neat, but it doesn't do anything. So I've provided a script for you to attach here. So go into your scripts and look for the button shoot laser script and drag that onto our button. Now again, you could drag it into this view, but to make sure I put it on the right one, I like to do it in the hierarchy because it's highlighted, and then I can just drop it on there and I know it went to the right spot. Now, if you scroll down in the inspector on our button here, you'll see this button shoot laser, and it's got some empty things here that we're going to link up. So it wants the laser. What is it going to create? We don't have one yet. But we do have a chicken. Let's go ahead and fill that one in. We'll drag in Mr. Chicken. We don't have a boss yet, so we'll leave that blank for now. But the laser that he's actually going to shoot, we need to create that. So we're going to make a brand new prefab. So to build a prefab, we can drag it into the scene and then drag it from the scene into our prefabs folder to establish that as a prefab. So in my Space Chicken sprites, I'm looking for the SC laser. I'm going to drag it right into the scene and hit F to focus on that. Maybe move it over to the side. There's the laser. This actually looks like a pretty good size. So we want to be able to press the button and then this will shoot out. But if we create it right now, it's just going to sit there. It's not going to do anything. So we want to make it so that this automatically moves upward as soon as it's created. And to do that, we're going to give it a script from the Playground project. And oops, those are sprites. Go into scripts, that would work much better. This has to do with movement. I'm not in the Space Chicken scripts, I'm in the just Playground project. movement, and then AutoMove. I'm going to put that on the laser. So we're building this laser that has all these different properties. Now we're going to save all of these settings as a pre-made or prefabricated master key or master copy. So AutoMove script is on here. And what direction do we want? Well, we don't want it to go left and right, so X is 0. And if we scrub this value, we want it to go up. I don't know, let's try a speed of 3. That'll do it. And now that laser actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to drag it from the hierarchy into my prefabs folder here. In the act of dragging it from the hierarchy to any folder, but by dragging it into this folder, it's going to save it as a prefab. Now I can get rid of it out of the scene because we don't want one just sitting there. The chicken's going to be creating it, or rather the button is technically going to be creating it, but at the chicken. So go back to your button. Now we can tell it, oh, this is what I want you to create when it's clicked. So I'm going to drag my laser into here. And the reason we had to link this chicken is so that the button knows where to create the laser. It's going to create it at the chicken's location. That's part of the script. Control S is always good to save. Now, you might think you're done. Not quite. Let's look at what we have. I'm going to close this rect transform thing. We have the default image. Yeah, that's great. The button script that is simply going to allow the image to look different as we click on it. And then this says if you run this function, or a function that's on this script actually, it will create lasers. So now we have to tie this clickable ability to this script. And that's what this on click is for. So we're going to say, yes, I want you to do something when it's clicked. And where is it going to get that function? Well, it's actually inside of this. So I can click on the black label here, the bold label, and drag it into this little spot and drop it. Now this lights up. And now I have access to all of the functions inside of this script. So I'm going to click on that drop down, choose this script, and then choose shoot laser. And the only reason shoot laser exists here is because I wrote that into this script as its own function. And just to show you quickly what that looks like, you don't have to open this script. Remember, it's not required, but I like to show a little behind the scenes on what's going on here. There is a function called shoot laser. And if you have score greater than 0, it's going to shoot a laser and update the score to subtract 1. So that's why this is looking for something called shoot laser, because that's what this is called on the back end. That's why that shows up there. Okay, now let's give it a shot. So what we're hoping for is no spawning. That's good. When I click through here, I can't shoot. The button changes color. That's good. Oh no! The laser is going down. It's creating it, and it is subtracting from my score, so that all worked. But the laser's going down? What is going on here? Let's check our prefab. Alright, laser, what's going on here? You could probably guess what happened here. When we created it, the AutoMove script, when we attached it, it also brought with it a rigid body. And so it was trying to go up, but gravity was pulling it down harder than it was trying to go up. It's like when I jump. So if you open up that rigid body on the laser prefab, yep, sure enough, there's gravity. No, I don't want gravity applied to this. Notice I did not have to bring the prefab into the scene. I can just click on the prefab, modify it, and then just by deselecting it, that prefab has been updated. So anything that uses that prefab will use that updated version. Let's try it again now that our laser has no gravity. So I can't shoot anything, but now, oops, I'm not very good at this game. I have a laser. There we go. Every time I shoot, a laser gets created, and I run out. And when I'm out, I can't shoot anymore. Cool! Our chicken can shoot laser beams. Cool. Can't destroy asteroids yet. That seems kind of critical to this game, don't you think? Maybe we should do that next.